Okay, so welcome everyone to our deep dive. And this time we are going to be diving into some pretty fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
All about artificial intelligence, or AI.
Right.
And to help us really explore this topic, we have this fantastic interview
Yes.
with Jeffrey Hinton, who, in the AI world, everybody knows Jeffrey Hinton.
Oh, yeah. The Godfather of AI.
Exactly. He's like the godfather.
Yeah.
And, he's been a pioneer in the field for decades.
Right.
So when he starts talking about things that he's worried about
Exactly.
when it comes to AI,
When the Godfather's worried.
we got to pay attention, right?
You better listen, yeah.
So one of the things that he brought up that really got me thinking was this idea of AI developing like sub-goals.
Right.
So could you kind of break down what he means by that? Because it sounds kind of ominous.
So sub-goals, it sounds a little bit scary, but it's actually pretty straightforward. Like when we give an AI a goal,
Okay.
it has to figure out how to reach that goal, right?
Right.
And so the steps that it takes to reach that goal, those are the sub-goals.
Okay.
And
so like a little subtask?
yeah, exactly. Like little subtasks that it figures out on its own
Okay.
that we don't necessarily program into it.
Gotcha. So like, let's say,
Yeah.
hypothetically speaking, we program an AI to, solve world hunger
Right.
or cure cancer.
Right.
Something like that, right?
Right.
Those are the goals, but then the AI
Yeah.
could come up with these sub-goals that we didn't anticipate.
Exactly. And that's where it gets a little bit
Right.
tricky because the AI doesn't necessarily have the same kind of moral compass or understanding of the world
Right.
that we do.
Right. Like it might decide that like eliminating humans is the easiest way to
Exactly. Yeah, it could be something like that where it's like, well,
Yeah.
if there are no humans, there's no hunger, so problem solved.
Right.
But obviously that's not what we...
not the solution we had in mind.
No, not at all.
So how do we make sure that those sub-goals are actually aligned with, our human values? And
That's the million-dollar question, right? That's what everybody's trying to figure out.
Right.
One way is to try to be really specific
yeah.
with the goals that we give the AI to begin with.
Okay.
And not just say cure cancer, but also say,
Right.
Do it in a way that respects human life and autonomy and all of that.
Right. Like build in these safety parameters.
Exactly. Yeah. Build in those safety parameters.
Right.
And then the other thing is to try to teach the AI about human values.
Right.
It sounds kind of crazy, but there's research going on where they're trying to like feed AI all of human literature and art and music so that it can kind of learn.
Absorb our culture.
Yeah, absorb our culture and hopefully internalize some of those values.
Interesting.
Yeah, fascinating work.
So another point that Hinton brings up that I found really interesting is he kind of compares the rise of AI
Yeah.
to the Industrial Revolution.
Right.
And, obviously that was a huge turning point
Oh, absolutely.
in human history.
Transform.
And he's saying that AI has the potential to do the same.
I think he's absolutely right.
Right.
Just like the Industrial Revolution, we saw machines taking over manual labor.
Right.
And now with AI, we're seeing the potential for it to take over
Yeah.
jobs that involve, data analysis or repetitive tasks.
Right. So like all these white-collar jobs that we thought were safe
Exactly.
are now potentially
on the chopping block.
on the chopping block.
Yeah, it's a little unsettling.
Yeah. So for people listening to this who might be feeling a little bit anxious about, is my job
Right.
be taken over by a robot?
Yeah.
What advice would you give them?
I think the key is to be adaptable, right?
Okay.
Like the Industrial Revolution didn't just eliminate jobs.
Yeah.
It also created new ones.
Right.
So
Right.
it's about figuring out what those new jobs are going to be
Right.
and what skills are going to be needed.
So like focusing on those uniquely human skills.
Exactly. Yeah. Things like creativity and critical thinking and emotional intelligence, those are things that AI is not very good at yet.
Yeah.
So if you can develop those skills,
Right.
you're going to be in a good position.
Okay. So it's not all doom and gloom.
No, not at all.
Right. Hinton does also talk about the potential benefits of AI,
Absolutely. Yeah.
especially in areas like healthcare and education.
The possibilities are incredible, right?
Yeah.
Like, imagine AI helping doctors diagnose diseases earlier or personalize education for every student
Yeah.
or, finding new solutions to climate change.
So it really has the potential to kind of improve every aspect of our lives.
Absolutely. It's really a powerful tool.
But then how do we balance that, those potential benefits
Right.
with the risks that we've been talking about?
It's a tough question, right?
Yeah.
I think it's about having open conversations like this, getting everybody involved, scientists, policymakers, the public,
Right.
and really thinking carefully about how we develop
Yeah.
and use this technology.
And, on that note, Hinton also expresses some skepticism about, politicians' ability to
Right.
regulate AI effectively.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a rapidly evolving field,
Right.
and politicians aren't always known for
Being the most tech savvy.
Yeah, keeping up with the latest trends.
Right.
So I think, we need to find ways to involve experts
Okay.
in the regulatory process.
So, like, bring in the scientists,
Yeah, exactly. Bring in the scientists, bring in the ethicists,
Yeah.
and really make sure that the regulations are informed by
people who actually
know what they're talking about.
understand.
Yeah.
So I want to touch on one more thing that Hinton mentioned, which is this idea of superintelligence.
Right.
Which is basically, AI that surpasses human intelligence.
Right.
And he even suggests that there could be, like, competition between different AI systems.
Yeah. It's a pretty wild thought, right?
Yeah, like AI versus AI.
Yeah. AI versus AI fighting it out.
So is this something that we should be genuinely worried about?
I mean, it's definitely something to think about,
Okay.
Once we create something that's smarter than us,
Yeah.
we kind of lose control, right?
We're in uncharted territory.
We're in uncharted territory, exactly.
So I guess the big question for our listeners is, after hearing all of this, what do you make of it?
Yeah.
Do you think that AI is going to eventually take over the world like Hinton predicts?
Yeah. What do you think the future holds?
Yeah, and what role do you want to play in shaping that future?
It's a big question.
It's a big question, and we'd love to hear your thoughts.